Welcome to the Tomorrow's World Christmas Quiz. It's the show that you've been waiting for all year, and to help us baffle and confuse you this year, we'll be joined by a celestial array of stars. Well, our first team with 350 members is already here, because it's you, the studio audience! Well, all you have to do is decide which is the true explanation for a number of rather unusual inventions. Here's one for starters. It's quite easy, this one, because it's a prototype, fully adjustable beauty queen crown. Now, as the winner is announced, the crown can be instantly altered to fit her swelling head, guaranteed not to fall off in her moment of glory.
Absolute rubbish. What it really is the perfect gift for a golfer. You shove it on the bottom of your bag so you can stick it into the fairway and it stays firm as you get your clubs out. Oh, but unfortunately it doesn't help you play any better.
Kate, your explanation is well under par, because this is actually a stir-fry stabiliser, which you slip under your wok, and you can adjust it here, the clip to raise it up or down towards the heat, leaving you free to rock around the clock.
Yeah, sad to say, perhaps, but one of us is telling the truth, and you've got to decide who it is. Carmen, you're in charge up there. What do you think?
Yes, well, now is your only chance to practice, so may I ask you, who do you think is telling the truth?
I think it's got to be the wok stabiliser.
The wok stabiliser? we've all got computerised voting pads, so make your choices and vote now. And it looks like Kate's caddy is doing well. A lot of people going for that. Nobody's interested in the crown. That's rather unusual. It looks like a resounding Kate's caddy spike.
The audience have gone for the caddy spike. I can't believe it. Who was telling the truth?
It was Kate with her caddy spike.
Looks like you're going to be good at this game. A good start for you. You obviously need someone to pit your wits against, though. And, in fact, there are only 3 people on the other team, so the odds are very much in your favour. But they are all scientific experts. Please welcome James Burke and his team. James, welcome back to the programme. Pleasure, lovely to see you. Have a seat. John, good to see you too. James, introduce us to your colleagues, if you would.
Sure. This is Professor Leslie Rees, who is the Dean of the Medical College at Barts, and this is Dr. John Hassard, who's a particle physicist from Imperial College, and with mega power like this, we are quietly confident.
John, you know a lot about nuclear physics. Just a bit. I'll try not to fall out with you, then. Thank you. That's the opposition, so welcome to you all, and now let's get straight down to business. 10 points if you can tell who is telling the truth. Judith.
This is the latest accessory for hot air balloonists when they want to touch down for just a few minutes. That's always been difficult because the balloon has to be deflated to come down, and then it takes loads of time and fuel to reflate it, ready for liftoff. But these new anchors make quick stopovers far easier, as my ground crew will now demonstrate.
Thank you, Judith. Well, because these anchors are made from high-tensile steel, they can be quite thin, so they go into the ground really easily. And it only takes 3 or 4 of them pushed in at this angle to secure any balloon to the spot.
There you go.
And the hooks make it easy to fasten off the ropes without getting into a knot. And when you're ready for takeoff, a firm tug at the handle is all you need to go up, up and away. But hang on for just a moment, Judith.
Believe that and you'll believe absolutely anything, even quite possibly this. For what this spike is really, once it's gone into its block, is a patented didgeridoo support. It fits into the wooden block rather like a cello spike does into the concert platform, and it's been invented to accommodate the orchestral didgeridoo, which is finding its way into more and more Western avant-garde music. The problem is that, like any wind instrument, the quality of the sound isn't just down to the air, which resonates up and down the tube, but also the way the air leaves the end of that tube. Now, in the Australian outback, Aboriginals support the end of the tube with their toes, but that would look rather silly on a concert platform. Hence the support. So we have the spike, we have the block, we have the leather strap, and we have music. Or something like it anyway.
If you don't believe either of those two, there's always the outside favourite. This gentleman spent a lot of time with Uncle, but tonight he's come straight from the stables of Trainer with some hot tips. Please welcome our first guest, David McCallum.
I've brought along one of our understudies to assist me to demonstrate. Now, there's no such thing as a dead certainty in the racing business, but this is certainly something we've all been waiting for down at the stables. Would you please watch where you're going? Now then, this should help speed up feeding the horses, and it's very important to keep thoroughbreds happy if they're going to run well, right? Right. Now then, all you do is push it into the bale, like that, and you take the net. You take the net, and you hang it over the hooks, like that. And it's very easy to fill, because you have one hand free to push the hay into the net. Then all you have to do is take it off and hang it up, and it becomes a galloping gourmet's delight.
Well, I wouldn't back the horse, that's for sure. John claims it's to tie your didgeridoo down, sport. Judith and Kate are firmly anchored with their balloon tether, or does David and his improbable friend have the real explanation tied up? Panel first, James and team, what do you think?
Well, what do you think?
Well, I think it's nothing to do with the balloon.
No.
Hot air,
yeah,
I think, may be involved in that, but I mean, that's too much.
And what about straw? You talked about straw.
Well, we thought the hay one was a bit of a straw man in the end, so we...
So that only leaves didgeridoo.
Your decision, then?
That's our decision, isn't it?
Didgeridoo. The panel have gone for the didgeridoo. All right, what about the audience? Carmen?
Who was convincing to you?
Oh, I rather like John's didgeridoo idea.
Another didgeridoo. Well, I think we ought to see. Is everybody ready? Vote now. And the didgeridoo support is steaming into the lead. Well, it looks decidedly like the didgeridoo support.
Very clear, the audience and the panel agreeing it's a didgeridoo supporter. Will the person who was telling the truth please step forward? Oh, it was David McCallum's hay neck holder! Marvellous, what a cracking start to the show. No points to the audience, none to the panel, and thank you very much, David McCallum. Well, let's move straight on to the next round. Same idea again. John.
So what do you think you would do with one of these? Well, OK, what else would you do with one of these? Well, try stuffing it up a rarely used chimney and blowing it up with a bicycle pump. There it goes. There it goes. Blown up, blown up, blown up. Take it off. There you go. No more cold drafts whistling around your feet. It's made of layers of tough plastic, so it won't tear on the rough sides of the chimney. And those very same layers overlap to stop the air from leaking out until you want to light the fire. Then all you have to do is to release the valve. Over here, release, take it down, and there you go.
That is a lot of hot air, because I can now reveal that it is really a lifesaver for fish. A white Christmas is bad news for the goldfish in your garden pond, because if the pond is covered by a complete layer of ice, what happens is that the fish can use up all the oxygen dissolved in the water, and then they won't have a happy new year. So you leave the balloon pumped up on the pond overnight. Then, if the temperature drops as fast as the needles on your Christmas tree, there'll always be a hole full of water there in the ice. So your fish can breathe easy once again.
Balloons help you breathe more easily, eh? There's nothing for it. Only international rescue can save this show. So straight from their hit show at the Ambassadors Theatre in the West End, Thunderbirds are go!
This has been developed by Brains at the request of the Vehicle Inspectorate as part of a special mission to make the world a safer place. But first, I need to find Parker. Parker?
Here I have Virgil.
Ah, all cars now have to have their exhaust gases tested as part of the MOT.
The carbon monoxide and hydrocarbon levels, you mean?
That's right.
In that case?
Exactly.
So the inspectors have to test the testers to check that the testers' testing equipment is testing the cars correctly.
Right. Just start the car, Parker.
Right here, Virgil.
Now, Brains' plan is that inspectors can use this device to go to any MOT testing station at any time and take a sample of the exhaust gases of any car that's under test. You can stop the car now, Parker.
Turn it on, turn it off. Cool, blimey.
Then they take the sample back to the lab for an accurate analysis so that they can check it against the garage's results.
Cool, blimey, Virgil. That Brains has done it again.
FAB, Parker.
I think you'll find that's MOT, Virgil.
Brilliant, what a gas. Judith had a breath freshener for fish. John preferred to stuff his up a flue. And it was a testing time for international rescue, as ever. Well, it's the audience's turn to decide first. Carmen?
Well, which one of those inflated ideas was it? Down here on the front row.
Well, I think it's the car one now.
Why?
Well, it's the new MOT coming out now.
And Sir on the end.
I think it's the first one with the fire.
You go for the fire?
Yeah, the chimney.
Well, I think it's time to put it to the vote. So, can everybody press their buttons now? The chimney balloon, oh, not done too well. But the exhaust bag has done very well. In fact, the exhaust bag has nipped into the lead with 41%.
1% in it for them, a close one there. Let's see what the panel think. James, friends?
Well, I think the exhaust bag is ludicrous, probably.
I think the business of the stuff in the pond is extremely fishy. And anyway, the ice would go underneath the bag and at the end of that. You just put an ordinary ball in there. Why do you need this? Professor.
Well, I'm absolutely convinced that it's the draft excluder for the chimney. I think the only disadvantage of that, of course, is it will stop Father Christmas coming down.
So, our vote is never mind Father Christmas, it's the one you stuff up the chimney.
The chimney balloon. All right, well, let's find out. Will the person who is telling the truth please step forward?
Yes, for it was me.
No! Yes, it was John's chimney balloon, so we're off the mark. The panel have 10 points, the audience have nothing. And thank you very much, Virgil and Parker, Wayne Forrester and Paul Kent. Safe drive home, guys. Well, I'm so impressed by the panel sweeping into the lead like that, I think I'm going to give them an early Christmas present. Here you go, pass these out amongst yourselves, and if you'd like to open them very quickly, and James, describe what's inside, if you would.
It's a belt of some kind, with a quick release, looks like. And it looks as if either side have there are Velcro pads, so that means that you can adjust to varying thickness, and something's going beep. Mm-hmm. Aha, when you undo it, you try to undo it, it goes beep.
All right.
There must be some business of undoing it in the right way.
Well, you've got until the end of the programme just about to work out what that might be. If you're feeling left out, audience, there's no need, because if you look under your seats, you've got a Christmas present too. It's something no Christmas stocking should be without. Carmen, what is it?
Well, it's sort of a silver foil envelope, and you can see it opens. It's quite strong. Oh, some people have decided that it's a hat already. A lot of people who think it's a hat.
Now, whilst you're all puzzling over your presents, there's a chance to pick up another 10 points as we join Bob Symes. Now, you all have to pay very careful attention here because Bob's got two gadgets to show us. The first one is for you, the audience, and the second for the panel. This time, you just have to guess what it's for.
There are many mysterious things to be found in these woods. All you have to do is to find the right tree. Two delightful parcels. Let's see what's in the first one. A rigid plastic strap attached to a blunt metal blade with a stalk which moves through 45 degrees on a rubber hinge. And in the second, this lovely brass device has a piece of piping free to move in all directions. And there's a bulldog clip, too. So what do you think these two puzzling inventions are for?
Well, audience, remember that the first present that was opened is yours. Carmen.
What do you think it was?
It was some sort of pump.
It was some sort of pump. How about this young man next to you?
Scraping ice off a window, maybe.
Scraping ice off a window, that's not a bad choice.
OK. Well, we've got a scraper or a pump, say the audience. We'll find out very shortly. But first of all, James, what do you and your team think that second item was for you?
We have the faintest idea.
What?
Can we take the first one? We've described it as a two-pronged bulldog clip Twizzler.
Yeah.
That's what it is, it's a Twizzler.
And it's made of brass. The nearest thing is, it's for taking the bubbles out of very large bottles of beer.
So something for taking the bubbles out of big barrels of beer.
Yes.
OK. Well, stranger things have happened. Let's see.
And here is where we find the answer. This is a handbell. The note of the bell is determined by the size of the plate. A small plate gives you a high note. A large one is lower. And this is designed to hold a chorister's candle. The gimbals mean the candle always stays upright and doesn't spill wax onto the chorister's hymn book. And a Merry Christmas to you all.
It's so easy when you see it, isn't it? Well, the audience at least had 3 ideas. They were all completely wrong, but I'm going to give them 5 points for that. And the panel at least had one idea. They had one idea, and they think it might double up as their bubble beer thing anyway. So I'm going to give them 2 points, which makes the score 12 to the panel and 5 to the audience. No, don't be upset, audience. There's still plenty of time for you to turn the tables if you can work out in this next round who is telling the truth. Judith.
This was invented in America, of course, to help even the complete beginner to shine at what's tipped to be the most hip of all teenage crazes next year. Hula hooping. Now, normally when you start to hula, the hoop hardly sees your hips because it spends most of its time around your ankles. Hence, these hip cups. Now, when the hoop starts to droop, these nudge it back up to the optimum position around your waist. Now, all the other straps you can see around my legs are there to stop the hip cups straying from your hips, guaranteeing a credible or even incredible performance.
No, don't believe a word of it. It'll never take off. Getting the hang of gliding is no easy matter, especially holding your body in that perfect aerodynamic posture. Well, these cups are for beginners. They keep your legs straight, and the straps at the back can be adjusted to keep your knees at the right height. Well, having mastered flying, you still have to learn how to land. Well, I did all right there, but even if I had landed badly, the cups would have acted like mini crash helmets. They're hard on the outside, but inside, if I can just show you, the strap there cushions the impact, just what your knees need.
Well, I'm going to leave you in suspense a little bit longer, because there's someone else with another explanation. See if you can guess whose lie it is, anyway, because have I got news for you? It's Paul Merton!
Well, quite frankly, those 2 previous definitions are ludicrous, because you look at this and it's quite simple. You can see that it has been designed to be worn by pregnant sheep. Now, here's one I made earlier. Now, if you look, you see this bit here? This is designed because pregnant sheep have a nasty habit of rolling onto their backs for a rest, and then they get completely stuck and they can't get back up again. So obviously for farmers, this is a worry. You don't want a field full of sheep sort of all like that, you know. So this device, the sheep use stand, comes into its own. These cups fit snugly onto the ewe's back, and with these buckles, it can be adjusted to fit any size of ewe. The cups make it impossible for the sheep to roll over. It's just too uncomfortable. But let me demonstrate. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Right. Roll over. Marilyn, roll over. So there you are, the sheep you stand, a wonder of the modern age.
Marvellous. Well, Judith had a strapping idea for hula hooping. Kate is hung up on gliding, and is Paul Merton pulling the wool over our eyes with the sheep strap. This time, I think the panel should go first.
OK, well, we began by eliminating the hula hoop on the grounds that...
Well, it could only be for men, because most women's hips are such a size that they don't actually need this protuberance on the outside.
And then we eliminated the knees because...
Well, for the same reason that it'd be very uncomfortable for sheep, it would be extremely uncomfortable for a hang glider.
And then, very unfortunately, up came this dead sheep. So, reluctantly, we go for the hula hoop.
You're going for the hula hoop.
I mean, it's
Obviously,
crazy,
a lot of
but we go for
discussion
that.
there. What about the audience, Carmen?
Can I ask you, who do you think is telling the truth?
Well, I have a feeling it's the sheep.
And what about you, sir? Who do you think's telling the truth?
No, I go for the sheep.
You go for the sheep,
Yes.
so we're sort of, you know, waning towards the sheep on our side. So if you could all press your buttons. The hula hoop hip cups not doing very well, but the sheep you stand streaking into the lead there. It's definitely the sheep you stand.
They're absolutely adamant about the sheep you stand there. The panel went for the hula hoops. OK. Who was telling the truth? Please stand forward.
Well, I'm afraid it was the sheep you stand.
Oh, yes, the audience are happy now. They were right as the sheep you stand. They get 10 points, and that takes them into the lead. 15 to the audience, 12 to the panel. And thank you very much, Paul Merton. Well, the scores at this stage couldn't be too much closer, but we'll soon put a stop to that, probably. Earlier on, we gave both teams a Christmas present, and I think it's about time we found out exactly what they are. Carmen, what ideas have you got up in the audience with yours?
We've had some good ideas up here, actually. This young lady has a very good idea.
I think it's a fish and chip bag instead of newspaper.
A fish and chip bag. Like it. And, sir, can I ask you, what do you think?
Yes, well, I thought it might be for making water by condensation in the desert.
Not bad, not bad.
Well, Carmen, perhaps you'd like to demonstrate it for us.
Yes, I can. Well, there were a lot of notes to do with insulation, and what it is, in fact, is a survival aid for keeping your feet warm. What you do is you put your foot in here, one size fits all, which is good news for me, and you wrap your foot in it, and then you slip it back into your mountain boot so that it keeps your tootsies warm, however cold it gets outside.
Certainly somebody mentioned wrapping things up in it, so not bad. I'll give you 5 points for that.
Oh,
James, what conclusions have you got about your beepy blue thing?
We've had 3 intriguingly different views.
Yes, well, I know exactly what this is. This is... My husband's a salmon fisherman, and they're always that size. And so it's a salmon lion.
Yes, very nice. John?
I think it's almost certainly some sort of surgical support for people who've got their legs in plaster. When they're in bed at night asleep, it'll wake them up if they move too far. Also, it breaks very easily. Sorry.
I think since it comes... It's a prototype. And my thought was, since it comes from China, it's made in China, it might well be for adopting specialist meditational positions, and you do this until the battery runs out.
OK. Well, a couple of medical...
In other words, we don't know.
But great ideas, absolutely. Very ingenious. Well, let me show you what it's for, if you don't mind me standing up and turning my back to you. You put it on like this, and over the back, and it's for posture. Testing your posture, you see. No. It makes your shoulders nice and erect like that, and if they should droop... Off goes the beaker. There you go, you see? And that's what it's all about. Well, you got a few medical ideas there, didn't you? In fact, earlier on you were talking about it measuring breathing patterns.
Breathing, yeah, we did.
I was quite impressed by the way they've been discussing this. I'm going to give them 7 points. Which makes you don't go like that, you're still in the lead. The 20 points go to the audience and 19 to the panel. Yes, there's just 1 point in it, but it could still go either way. Probably will. It all depends on the final round. And now, as they say, it's time for something completely different. James, you've been nominated by your team to represent them in this round, so if you'd like to follow me over here, quick as you like, up on the top we go. Now, we need someone to take up the challenge for the audience. She should be here any second. She's a lady who's always in a hurry. Anneka Rice. Come over here, Anneka, and join us up on the top. Yeah. All right, now, it's quite simple. The basic idea of the next round is for you both to turn each other into frogs. And, of course, we have the technology that'll make that possible. If you'd like to step into there, James. Anneka, yours is on the left. And put on the helmets that you'll find. And pick up your joysticks,
Oh, my goodness.
And the joystick has a magic wand on the end of it. And you'll find that you've now entered the world of virtual reality. And you can look around by turning your head. And if you look down, you can even see your own virtually real feet. That's right. Now, if you move the joystick around, that's what makes you move. And you can also cast a spell on your opponent using that joystick too. Now, we all have the advantage of being able to watch both of you in your whole new world. And you can see that Anneka is in the purple there, and James, of course, is in his blue shirt and khaki trousers. OK,
Come back,
so if you
Anneka.
both feel that you know your way around, wait for the whistle, and the game will commence. 3, 2, 1. Off you go. There's Anneka, a good zap from Anneka, and from James there. Oh, yes, they've both completely annihilated each other. Oh. How about that? Unorthodox approach to the game. That's one frog each. It's riveting stuff, you have to agree. And let's see now, Anneka, we're dodging around the columns looking for James, and they're nearly... Ooh, James is right behind her. They can't actually see each other at the moment. James is in hot pursuit around the columns. Oh, yes! And it's a direct hit. James... Anneka has been turned into a frog. She's hopping mad about that. And they're shooting willy-nilly now. They've missed each other entirely, but Alice... Anneka... Oh, yes, a great shot! James turns into a frog there, too. Oh, and James, what about that? He actually jumped about 50 feet into the air, but that didn't do him any good. He's back on that same old level again, still trying to find each other. It's 2 strikes all at the moment, 2 frogs each. Let's see if we can get a decider. Who's it going to be? James! It's a great shot! It's a great shot! And that's the end of the game! James scores 3. Anneka made James into a frog twice, so James wins, and the final score for this year's game, it's a draw, 22 points each. I don't know how we did it. That's all we've got time for tonight, and indeed for this year. Thank you to you, our audience. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yeah. Thanks to our panel, too, Professor Leslie Rees, Dr. John Hassard, and, of course, James Burke, and all our special guests as well. Well, we'll be back on Wednesday, the 8th of January, with our regular Tomorrow's World show. So until then, from us all here, thanks for watching. Have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good night.